UNICEF tells us that 5 to 10% of our children's population have lost at least one parent. Some have lost two. That's a minimum of over 2 million kids. And if we look at the other side of the range, that's closer to 5 million kids. But that's only the definition of children losing parents. 85% of the problem is related to poverty and abuse. That tells us that only 10 to 15% are related to parental death. And the 10 to 15% lumps in everything else that is not poverty and sexual abuse. Given that 85% are not in that state, how do we define orphan care? If you do not have at least one committed adult, you fall under being an orphan. The reality of the matter is, the biggest problem we have is that the basic unit of society is falling apart in different parts of the world, the Philippines included. From 2014 to 2018, we have a whopping average of 140 adoptions a year. The number of adoptions that happen every year is roughly around 0.0025 up to 0.0059% of the national orphan population. That is the reason why we have crisis. The number of orphans keeps growing, but we are at 140 adoptions a year. We need to grow the number of families who decide to adopt, the number of families who decide to foster. So now that we know what the problem is, and now that we know that family is the answer, what do we need to do? We need more families to jump into the movement. How do we do this? We can involve churches. In the Philippine Council of Evangelical Churches alone, there are over 133,000 churches. Can you imagine if one church had one family that chooses to adopt or foster, and the rest of the church comes in? More families will see that it's realistic. We turn this country around. We need families and even individuals to step up through adoption, through foster care. And if that's not something that you feel called to do, it would be really helpful if you jump into the trenches with those who adopt and those who get into foster care, because we need help too. Children need more than material goods, more than food, shelter, clothing, education. These are great, but the reality of the matter is children need to thrive, and children thrive in family.